through is the HPI. Have either of you used the HPI to do calculations before?
Yeah.
I know you and I have talked about it, Bridget.
Yeah.
Carol, have you ever used the HPI?
I'm trying to remember. To be honest, I'm not sure. It's been a while if I have.
Yeah. Okay, so what the HPI is it's a composite number value of all the data analytics you can get for properties that are selling across Canada. They have it for each area. So there's a lot of factors like number of rooms, finishes, all that stuff. It's really it's a very in-depth number, and they create a score based off of what's going on in terms of the house prices and how they're performing. You can look at it as a performance over time. There is a price estimate tool in here. These are the main two I use. But the only consideration to make is that if you're looking at a property and you want to figure out its value now as opposed to when they bought it, the property would have to be exactly the same, or you have to find a way to adjust after you get the passive appreciation on the value on the property, right? So if we looked into Bird Road here specifically, do you know if they did any upgrades to it since they bought it?
Yeah, pretty much over the last 5 years, they've gone down to the studs. So
Okay.
most of it.
Then, yeah. So then as we look at it, they bought, and I'll usually use the day that they agreed to buy it as opposed to the day they closed, because that's more accurate of the market they were buying in, because 2 months can make a huge difference. So they bought in 2010 in August for $213,500. So we can go into our HPI and we will find 19 district, property type. It is, what type of property is it? It is a detached bungalow. So we'll pick 1-story single family, hit apply. And so now it'll have a ward, Sydney ward. So you can break it down by the whole area. So you can pick Quinte West if you want.
Yeah.
I prefer to go down to the actual neighborhood. So I'm going to grab Sydney ward, hit apply. And now you have history down to 2005. With the slider, we can now shorten up that time frame so we can get a better look at just the section of time we want to know. So we were saying they bought in August 2010. And so this goes up to the previous month that they have stats for. So obviously goes to May. And so now we can see that the HPI score was 121.5 when they bought it. We can go through all the different varying aspects of it, especially if people are talking about the height of the market. As you see here, sitting at a 453.5. So that's a big jump from there, but then we have a pretty big drop down to 334.6. And that kind of gives us our number. So we can calculate from there the percent change between the first number and then today's number and apply that to the price they bought it at to get the passive appreciation on it. So what the property would be valued at if it was in the exact same state as they bought it and over this 10-year period or 15-year period, right? And so since they've done the upgrades, you may have to get it to that base price and then a lot of value to the upgrades they've done, but it gets you there for properties that might not have a lot of comparables. So more rural properties that have different features. This is a very good tool for getting the price. You may have to do a little bit of adjustments afterwards, but ultimately you're just comparing it in its state now versus when they bought it, and time will kind of tell you. If you don't want to do the calculations yourself, they have a handy built-in tool here. to the same effect, you would look up Sydney Ward, 1-story single family, but August 2010, and we said that price point they bought 213,500. So then it would calculate that the passive appreciation is about 588,000 without the work done. Now you said they brought it down to the studs. So
Yeah, pretty much.
how much would you say that they invested in it?
Oh, they brought it down to the studs plus finished the basement. And so, well, I don't know offhand, but probably at least 150,000.
Okay, and you said 775. So ultimately, the difference of this and 775 and what they put into it would be that they kind of earned nothing on their improvements, but probably not true. Maybe they overpaid in the time that they bought. We don't know if that's the case, right? So we don't know what they bought this for compared to similar properties. But at the very least, you know it's around the 600 mark, and you can start to find, even if you wanted to use this to start finding comparable price point properties, if there's a lot of listings up, it's another use for it, is that you're like, okay, I know I'm not going to look for anything under 600,000 if it's 588 without the upgrades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe, 699 might be the right price for that property, or 729. But now you're not blindly trying to find comps and going through every feature of a house. You find the price point and you select 10 properties, and then you start to exclude them based on, not fitting a comparable property, right? And so it's a valuable way to look at it if there is no comparables, or if there's way too many, to really shorten that list that you want to use. Did either of you have any questions about HPI?
Oh, that's great.
When it comes to doing stats for your clients, do you have something you use currently?
I usually use ListTrack mostly.
Yeah, I find it's a very valuable tool. It doesn't look as nice as Realtor.ca, but I find the Realtor.ca site to be very slow to load, and that's not great. Where this is just like a quick, you're already in there, just boom, 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 download, send it, or set it up, and it's out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess an additional thing that I could add, and this is not specific to a statistics tool, but adding on to, I'll move it up here.
Sorry, quick question. To do the calculations, did you actually just scroll down from where the original chart was?
Nope. So when you're in there, that top bar here has intro, performance over time. Performance over time is the one I generally use to see this line graph.
Yep.
And you can click your points and get all your numbers. And then there's a price estimate button here.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to do the calculations yourself.
Okay, because I actually usually use the performance over time and then I'm doing the calculations. So having, yeah, I think that actually using kind of both in tandem is perfect.
It saves you a lot of time. There will be some disparity sometimes because, for whatever reason, if you're calculating it and it's rounding numbers, but the calculation is basically the current number minus the original number divided by, and then you divide the answer by the original number, and that's your percent difference, whether it's negative or positive, and then you just apply it as like a list price times 1 plus the percentage.
Because I actually put the performance over time graph into my listing presentation.
Yeah, I generally do.
But even kind of having that price estimate is nice. It would speed things up as well.
Yeah. Another thing I do in CMAs that is not necessarily statistics, but it's very helpful, is I create Excel sheets where I'll put in very specific information, but the most important thing is I'll create a dollar per square foot calculation,
Okay.
average that out, and then you can really see if, you know, if the average dollar per square foot for properties in the area, especially the comps you picked out, is say $600 per square foot, and you're listed at $950, you better be ultra luxury at that point,
Right.
and one of a kind property that, you know, people are asking you right out the gate, like, to make sure that they can get in.
Right.
Otherwise, yeah, your pricing's way off if that's the case. But these are all things you use in negotiating with your own clients. Sucks that you usually don't trust your judgment on pricing when they want something like that. But the more information you can bring to them, the better.